Imagine you are 3 minutes into the presentation that determines if your career continues or ends. You are asking for the $5 million you need to keep your startup breathing. You click to your most critical slide, the one that lays bare your entire model, and the projector dies. The room goes pitch black. The decision makers stop looking at the dead screen and slowly turn to stare at you. In that fraction of a second, when the spotlight shifts entirely to your shoulders, do you freeze or do you thrive? Many founders fail here because they treat a pitch like a middle school book report. They walk into the room assuming investors are simply there to hear a good idea. A dead projector is an existential stress test. It measures exactly how you navigate environmental friction in real time. To survive that room, you have to understand the psychological terrain of the people sitting across from you. The venture capital battlefield is unapologetically unforgiving. This grid of 20 nodes represents the power law. If an investor funds 20 companies, they expect 15 to drop to zero. To survive, 1 or 2 remaining companies must become massive outliers, generating astronomical returns to pay for the failures. That high mortality rate rewires an investor's cognitive baseline. When you walk in to pitch, their default assumption is that your startup is already dead. Their brains cannot afford to do deep analysis on every single business model. Instead, they rely on aggressive subconscious heuristics, mental shortcuts to quickly find a reason to say no and preserve energy. Because they are reactively looking for a reason to disqualify you, any unhandled friction in your narrative flags you as a liability. If you are sloppy with your story, they assume you will be sloppy with their capital. Let's look at the mechanics of pitch day. Your adrenaline is spiking, your hands are shaking, and as you walk up the concrete steps to the firm's office, you drop your primary tablet. Most people would suffer a psychological collapse, but a professional engineers a redundancy protocol. You anticipate your own stress response and ensure you never rely on a single point of failure. You calmly pull out a backup USB drive, but reality loves to test you. You walk into the boardroom, plug in that drive and realize the building's entire network is down. The screen on the wall won't power on. The room is dead silent, waiting to see if you crack. Without breaking eye contact, you execute an analog fallback. You reach into your bag, pull out high-quality physical blueprints of your deck, and hand one to every decision-maker. Deploying physical contingencies without hesitation turns a technical embarrassment into physical proof of your operational reliability. You prove that risk mitigation is woven into your DNA. That physical preparation only buys you the first 5 minutes. Once you open your mouth, relying on natural charm to carry the meeting is a lethal miscalculation. In reality, true spontaneity actually requires monotonous mastery. Think of a stand-up comedian effortlessly dismantling a heckler. That flow only happens because they have practiced their core material 10,000 times. When you drill your go-to market strategy and financials into muscle memory, your brain stops buffering. You regain the cognitive capacity to read the micro-expressions in the room and adjust your tone before an investor even vocalizes a hesitation. Eventually, they will interrupt you. When they do, they speak the dialect of pure mathematics, and you must apply the anti-story rule. The natural instinct is to wrap raw data in a sprawling narrative to soften the blow. The anti-story rule dictates that when asked a quantitative question, you deliver a crisp, exact number. If they ask for your customer acquisition cost, the answer is $42, not a 5-minute journey about optimizing ad spend. This dashboard shows the exact numbers you need. To prove your operational reality, you must know 4 non-negotiable metrics cold: your projected revenue, your break-even revenue, the cash required to reach break-even, and finally, your yearly headcount. That headcount number is a lie detector test. If you project scaling to 100,000 users by year 2, but only plan to hire 2 customer support reps, your entire financial model shatters. The logistics simply do not work, proving you don't understand the physical laws of building a business. When a spreadsheet falls apart like that, it exposes a founder who spent too much time in the laboratory of their own mind, falling in love with a financial model that only goes up and to the right. Relying on the data creates performed conviction, an intellectual foundation made of sand. Imagine 2 founders building inventory software for restaurants. Founder A has a polished pitch built from reading glossy reports in a coffee shop. Founder B has visceral reality from working the 2 a.m. closing shift in a chaotic, greasy commercial kitchen. When an investor throws out a bizarre edge case question, Founder A freezes and retreats to a rehearsed script. Founder B leans forward, looks the investor dead in the eye, and delivers raw battlefield intelligence based on what they actually witnessed. The market does not negotiate with an Excel formula. Relying solely on theoretical data will always trigger the investor's disqualification reflex. Earned conviction comes from bleeding in the real world. It is the actual weapon that wins the room. All the preparation, the redundancy protocols, the drilled financials, the physical backups, these are merely the armor you wear to survive environmental friction. Deep mastery of your business grants you the confidence to throw the script away entirely. Look at the massive opportunity looming on your own horizon. Are you going to walk into that room relying on your charm? Or have you acquired the gritty, undeniable conviction to guarantee that even if the projector dies, you cannot fail? For more breakdowns of elite startup strategies and the mechanics of high-stakes pitching, head over to nollator.com.